Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the Atlanta Black Chambers Health and Wellness webinar. Health is wealth. Health is your greatest asset. I'm Chris James. I am the chairman for the Health and Wellness Committee here at the Atlanta Black Chambers. We're excited to see you all. We're creeping up on 100 people in the room, so it's almost a party. It's not a party until we get 100 in here, though. So when we get 100 people in here, you can start dancing wherever you are in the world. And we did get some communication about the chat not being able to work for everybody. So we're working on that in the background. So give us a moment because we definitely want to make sure we're able to all engage with each other. We want to know who you are, where you are in the world. And I also want to know who in here is an ABC member. So we're gonna get all that going in a moment. So again, I'm Chris James. I'm excited for this experience to happen. I am going to pass it over to the curator of today's experience, the one and she hit me with the no. Oh, uh, I'm passing it to Pat, to you.
You are introducing our partners.
Gotcha. All right. And that's why you have good people on your team so they can keep you in order. All right. So if you ain't got good people on your team, hey, it's gonna happen. So we do have one of our amazing partners here today. Black Health Matters. If you don't know about Black Health Matters, I'm not sure what's happening in your world, but we have Dr. Pat here, Dr. Patricia Saint here in the building with us. She is the COO for Black Health Matters, and we're excited to be in partnership with them in their OHOW initiative, Our Health, Our Wealth, right? Which is, I messed that up too. Okay, hey, spank me later. Okay,
Health
all
or
right.
wellness.
Our health, our wellness. All right. So right now, I'm gonna bring on Dr. Pat to tell us a little bit more about what is happening at Black Health Matters and this amazing initiative. Dr. Pat.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. But you know what? Part of health is joy and laughter. So you got us off to a great start, actually. Hi, everyone. Welcome. And we are over 100, so it means I can start dancing now. Congratulations to the ABC Health Committee on pulling this together. My name is Dr. Patricia St. Cyr Hager. I am the Chief Operating Officer for Black Health Matters, an organization that has been involved in health, countering health literacy and disparities in health for over 13 years, especially in Atlanta. It's one of our main homestay locations. We are launching a new initiative, Our Health, Our Wellness. It's powered by the Black Health Matters Foundation, and it's focused in three areas: prevention, intervention, and access. And for those of you public health gurus on the line, you know those are our traditional pillars. So we want to make sure we can share with everyone we're touching the impact we're making, and that's why we're rooting it in those pillars. This is going to be a month-long event, event of series of events. It's happening starting today. We have a new website, ourhealthourwellness.com. We're pushing people to action and empowering you to own your health journey through this initiative. All our programming is designed, as I said, rooted in those three focus areas. And additionally, they're bilingual. Everything is being offered in English and Spanish to the best of our ability. So thank you to the Health Committee at ABC, Chris, Tamara, Dr. Fiona, for working with us and being a partner. We are excited about this partnership with the Health Committee, and I'll turn it back to you. Enjoy the webinar.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Pat. All right. So we're gonna keep this ball rolling. So now I am going to officially pass it over to the amazing Tamara Moon. Again, she is responsible for today happening. So Tamara Moon is also a part of the leadership for the Atlanta Black Chambers Health and Wellness Committee. She's one of the co-chairs, and I'm excited for you all to meet her. Tamara Moon, everybody give it up for her wherever you are. Clap. Clap. If you're not clapping, you're not spreading the love we need you to spread. All right.
Well, thank you, Chris, so much. I'm excited to see the numbers that showed up. This is Atlanta Black Chamber's first webinar, first of many. And the partners that we have on board, we're so excited. So, first of all, happy National Minority Health Month. If you did not know, April is Minority Health Month. So, we are kicking it off and kicking it off strong. Today's webinar equips participants with evidence informed strategies to strengthen their mental, nutritional, and physical health as foundational drivers of personal well being, professional performance, and long term wealth. So, in alignment with today's theme, let's be intentional and set the tone to invest in ourselves. So, I'm going to ask you to take a moment to ask yourself, and you might even want to write it down. What do I want to gain from this 60-minute session? I am delighted to briefly introduce our three experts. Presenter bios will be emailed to all registrants following today's webinar. Please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. And thank you to our very own ABC member, Coach Malika Ahmad, who will serve as our monitor for today. And if time permits, we will address any questions at the conclusion of the presentation. So our first presenter and expert is Kabian Brown. He will represent Bridgeway Counseling and discuss mental health, followed by our very own Dr. Fiona Lewis, the creator of Baddies Over 40, and she will discuss nutrition. And then we have Tsani Merriweather, who serves as the founder and CEO of the Healers Lounge, and she'll close us out with the tools to protect your energy, focus, and capacity. So without further ado, I welcome Kabian Brown to the virtual stage. Kabian's motto is therapy should be like good music. When it's meaningful, you're engaged. When it's not, you find something that truly speaks to you.
Good to go. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kabian Brown, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker and also a doctoral student at Adelphi University in New York, where I'm going for my doctorate in social welfare. Today, we will be covering the topic. The topic is mental health as a foundation for wealth. So, in short, I pretty much call this topic mental wealth. We're going to try to make sure that we can stay rich with our mental health and make sure we consider that mental wealth. I'm assuming somebody's going to be clicking this. Okay, so next slide. All right. Why does this matter? Um, Mental health impacts our overall health, right? And we know that if we have good mental health, then we are able to do a lot of things. If our mental health is poor, then it restricts us. Poor mental health leads to chronic illness. Chronic illness leads to medical costs, reduces your ability to work, and if your body breaks down, then guess what? So does your ability to build wealth. Um, when we have stress reduces productivity and leads to burnout, right? So when we have negative mental health, it definitely leads to burnout because we are taking on too many things, not being able to say no, we can't do something, or just pretty much just not having good self-care steps. We're just taking on too much things that we don't really need to involve ourselves with. This leads to something that I'm going to discuss in this topic or in this presentation through the generational trauma through something called PTSS, which is post-traumatic slave syndrome. And we're going to talk about how that has gone into generational trauma and how that affects our mental wealth. Throughout this, we will also talk about some self-care strategies to improve and increase your mental wealth. And like I said, this is going to be your mental health, and we're just trying to make sure it's an abundance of positive mental health. Next slide, please. All right. So mental health and our physical health. How do they work together? How do they impact? Mental health, it determines our physical health. Like I said, chronic illness leads to a lot of calling out of work, not able to be functional for your family, not able to be functional for society, not able to be functional. If the body breaks down, like I said, so does your ability to produce wealth. When we're taking care of one's mental health, our physical health is critical, especially in Black communities. And like I said, I'm going to explain that through the post-traumatic slave syndrome. Generational stress reduces our resiliency when it comes to systemic barriers, such as institutionalized institutions where we're not treated the same and things like that. Mental health affects our sleep and our energy. A lot of times, if we're dealing with a lot of things mentally, we're still processing because the brain doesn't sleep. Even though we sleep, your brain is still active. That's when you have dreams. That's when it's processing things in REM sleep. It is just processing different things. Your brain does not sleep. But when you have a lot of things dealing in your mental health, it can affect that. Some people might get 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep, have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. Most people might say they might have some anxious thoughts or anxious thinking. But all of this goes with your mental health. Your mental health is key to your physical health, your emotional health, and in times, mainly your spiritual health. And we just want to make sure that all of that is good. So with the next slide, please. I'm going to do an activity and I'm going to ask the audience. I can't really see you guys, so hopefully you're able to go through this and feel something. This activity is going to be how I'm going to show you in 30 seconds to 2 minutes how physical health can, how negative mental health can, or negative physical health can affect your mental health. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to think about something that's been stressing you out, whether it's money, work, family, or pressures, right? You don't have to say it out loud, but if you do, I don't think anybody can hear you because virtual. So think about something that's been stressing you out. And then this is the activity, all right? So you're going to see me make faces. I pledge Sigma, so I'm going to make an intensity face. That's what we call it, getting intense. But I'm going to ask you guys to pretty much tighten your body. It's called progressive muscle relaxation, and we're going to go through this. So the first step, I need everybody to clench their fists real tight, right? I want you to feel all the pressure that you have in your hands. Feel the tightness, feel the tension that's in there. When we're stressed and when we're dealing with things, our body gets tense, it gets tight. It feels like this. It feels heavy. And now I need you to tighten your shoulders. Move your shoulders up, tighten them as much as you can. It should feel uncomfortable because it feels extremely uncomfortable. So tight fists, tight shoulders, and now screw up your face. Let's get like a tight face. Screw up your face and hold your breath slightly. All right. I need you to sit in this for 10 seconds. All right. Here we go. I'm going to start the clock because you've been doing it. So go. Everything intense. Two. And then let go, especially your hands. You're going to feel that it hurts. Like letting go of that stress, it hurts, but it's also so relaxing to let go of that tension. So as we're trying to get body awareness and then we went through our mental activity with our physical activity, I ask you, where do you feel the tension in your body now? Do you have a tight chest? Do you still feel it in your face? I still feel all the tension in my hands from holding so tightly. By reducing your breath and holding your breath a little bit, do you now have a faster heartbeat? When you think about the things that are worrying you, the things that are stressing you, and you clench up and get tight, can you see how your body is holding all of that and how we produce that mentally? When we're walking around with this level of stress all the time, our body is constantly tight. So that's your body's response to stress, right? It tightens up. Everything tightens up. And when you decide to let it go, spiritually we say let God and let go. When you decide to let it go, you feel that release. You feel that woosah, for lack of a better word, right? So this is what I want you to do now. So after we've tightened up, this is how we relax. And this is also part of self-care. Sometimes when we're going through something that is so mentally challenging, right? And we feel like our mental wealth is depleting, this is a good way to invest, to put some more money back into our mental health and invest in our mental wealth. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to take a slow breath from your nose, right? So you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for 4 seconds. And then I'm going to ask you to release it out through your mouth slowly for 6 seconds. Don't let all the air come out, but release it slowly for 6 seconds. We're going to do it two more times. So release and do it two more times. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Hold, release, and then do another one at your own pace. In, hold, release. Now I ask you to ask yourself, or I'm asking you, what's changed in your body? What's changed in your mind? When we allow ourselves to go through stress release, and when we allow ourselves to, for lack of a better word, woo-saw it out, we get release, we get self-care, we decrease burnout, we increase our mental health, we increase our physical health, we increase our emotional health, we increase our mental wealth. So this activity is allow you to see what stress looks like, and this activity is also to let you know what it feels like to lighten up or woo-saw it out. Self-care is important, and that's how we maintain mental wealth. All right. So if 30 seconds of stress can change your body, imagine what daily stress is doing over time. And if 30 seconds of breathing can shift your body, imagine what consistent mental health care can do when we're focused and we're intentional to make sure that we remain wealthy in our mentalities. All right. Next slide, please. All right. So, like I said, I was going to be talking to you guys a little bit about PTSS and how it impacts our generational trauma. Next slide, please. Or how it, yeah, impacts how it puts to generational trauma. And I was very intentional about these images, right? So, what is PTSS? Post-traumatic slave syndrome. Post-traumatic slave syndrome is a social theory that's been developed by Dr. Joy DeGruy, and it explores the enduring psychological, social, and cultural effects of slavery and systemic racism on African Americans. The theory argues that centuries of racial oppression have produced multi-generational trauma that continues to shape behaviors, identity, and community dynamics within Black communities. In a sense, this is a theory saying we as people have held our stress for generations and it's affecting our overall mental wealth. How do we I can't say eradicate it because it's been something that's been going on for way over 50 years, centuries, right? But how do we manifest self-health and how do we manifest mental wealth? We have to make sure that we understand what next slide. We have to make sure that we understand how it impacts us, right? So PTSS creates vacant esteem. And what is that? It's a lack of self-worth resulting from historical dehumanization. How do we see ourselves in society? We might see ourselves one way, society sees ourselves another way. That impacts our mental health, impacts our mental wealth, impacts our physical health, depending on what it is, impacts our emotional health. So we have to make sure that we see these things and we don't subscribe to systemic systemic barriers. Let me say that. Trauma shapes our development through, like I said, social learning. We see things, we believe things. We now put that into a part of our mental health. And sometimes if we're thinking that we automatically have a disadvantage, like we're hyper vigilant about things, we distrust systems, it affects our mental wealth because we might automatically say, you know what, I'm not going to get that. I'm not going to get this. This is not for me. It's my mental wealth will literally literally going from check to check and making sure that I can make it rather than thinking about how do we make generational wealth through mental wealth, right? So if our mental health is okay, then we start thinking long term. If our mental health is impacted, then we're in a survival mindset, right? How do I get through today? How do I get through tomorrow? Oh my gosh, can I make it through next week? This is kind of what is called like poor mental health, the things that we're constantly thinking about that are troubling us. Identity and relationships also affect us. And as I would say, this is minority awareness month. So I want to make sure that we can understand how this affects our identity and our relationships. If we feel as though imposter syndrome, I'll say that through identity. When we feel like we have all the qualifications, all the certifications, all the credentials, but we're still just not good enough, right? That goes to how can sometimes affect our identity. And another way that it affects our relationships is that there's a constant mistrust that we have with through generational impact. Trust becomes the biggest thing. And we also have to think sometimes, is the world safe? Right? Through generational impacts, next slide. Through generational impacts, it has become one of the biggest questions. Sorry, go back one slide. Sorry, has become one of the biggest questions. Um, is the world safe? When we put things together, we need to know that PT in a PTS in a PTSS lens, which is post-traumatic slave syndrome, it causes us to fear stepping out of place or to assume that there are consequences of just being visible, right? So sometimes children will feel like me being visible, me talking up, me having a role, me having an identity. Sometimes we're labeled as Diary of a Mad Black Woman or angry males or different things because we are trying to create our identity other than from what society views it. So I just want to spend some time on this to let us know that mental health and mental wealth can definitely be impacted by society. And it's definitely impacted by society for us as a generation if we tend to bring in those generational traumas to each child. Like as a male growing up, my mom would be like, when we get pulled over by the cops, two hands, your hands is on 12 and 3. Keep your hands up, make sure you're okay. Those aren't the same conversations that happen to everybody. And those, again, make sure that when just getting pulled over, the thought of it initially affects my mental wealth because I know what comes of it as a black man in the society. So we just have to look at those. I'm trying to be respectful of time. So next slide. Overall well-being, right? So positive mental health, like I said, equals a positive bank account in our mental wealth and make sure that we are emotionally stable. When overall well-being is strong into your mental, your physical, or your social, the body and the brain are better regulated. So what's happening with that? There's lower chronic stress. What do I mean by that? Lower chronic stress means that you have a balanced nervous system. You're not so on edge. You're not so anxious. You're not so irritable is a better word for it. You get better sleep. Emotional stability equals better sleep because you're not thinking about all the things that are still processing in the night. It improves your mood regulation. Therefore, it's easier to go to sleep. You're not having so many things that are stressing you out. You have a healthy Okay, you have a healthy coping, there's healthy coping and relationships, and I'm looking at time and I'm over it. So quickly, overall well-being for mental wealth, you have positive emotional stability, you're more positive, you're less irritable, you have positive relationships, you look at people as more of a support rather than a negative, and life satisfaction. You can go through a day and be like, man, what did I do today? I achieved so many things rather than just saying, another day, it was just bad, right? We have more life satisfactions with a better mental health. Next slide. Hopefully, I'm not talking too fast for you guys. Strategic strategies for growth with routine, boundaries, and support systems increases mental wealth, right? So if you have a routine that you know that you're going to do, you don't have to, if you know that you, like me, I pay my bills when I get paid, I pay those bills right away. So that way I have extra cash just for other things. If that's a routine, then all your bills and all of your immediate things are done. Boundaries. Boundaries are not for other people. Boundaries are for us. If we do good boundaries, we improve our self-care. No doesn't have to be a bad thing. No can just be no, and it is a part of self-care. Support systems, simple. Good strategy for growth. If you have good support, you have a positive mindset, you have good mental wealth because you know you have people that are supporting what you're doing. Next slide. I'm definitely over my time. I'm sorry. And to protect your mind, build your mental wealth. Guard your peace and your energy. Invest in habits that strengthen your mindset. Set boundaries that protect your wealth or your well-being. Surround yourself with environments that support your growth, right? You don't have to be in situations that are toxic. If it's toxic, leave it, remove yourself, and maintain your mental wealth account. Next slide. I think this is the last one. That was the last one. That was the last one. That's my time. I'm probably over time. Thank you very much. My name is Kabian Brown. You can follow me on social media, K Brown LCSW. Happy Minority Awareness Month. Thank you.
And Kabian, please drop your information in the chat. The chat is open for everyone now. Thank you, Kabian. Tamara?
We're just jumping into the next speaker, which is Dr. Fiona Lewis.
Oh, and that is on me. I am bringing you back up now. And give it up for Dr. Fiona.
Good afternoon. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all see me? All right, I'm going to take
Yes,
that as a
yes, I can hear you and see you.
Okay, very good. Happy April and happy Minority Health Month. It is my pleasure to share with you how you can leverage nutrition for protecting your greatest asset, which is your health, and of course, doing the same with the communities that you serve. So let's go to the next slide. And so you can read my bio. What I will say here, I am the director of a DRPH program. And one of the concentrations that I oversee in the program as well is leadership, advanced public health practice leadership. So if you're interested in getting a DRPH, it's online. Reach out to me. I see there's a USF alumni, go Bulls, right? If you're interested in learning about my Femtech Women's Health Innovation work, reach out to me. And I will say, by way of background, I'm a registered dietitian and professionally trained plant-based chef. So there's a lot that I can do. In different seasons, I do different things. So next slide. So today's presentation is meant to help you. First, it's for you, and then it's also for you to apply to the work that you do with the communities that you serve. And so I wanted to also make this super interesting because the pictures you will see are actually from a 4-year relationship I've had with Tuskegee University. Once a year, I go and I support their professional agriculture workers conference, and I do pop-up culinary nutrition, food as medicine classes, general sessions, and then also sessions for women over 40, hence the baddies over 40. Next slide. And so it goes without saying, this is why we're here. We all understand that our body funds our focus, our leadership, our relationships, and our bag, as we say, our earning power, our ability to secure the bag. And so there's a picture from one of the sessions, the general sessions that I led for Tuskegee. Next slide. And so here we are. If you're in public health or you're an avid reader of health and wellness information, you may have already known this to some degree that about 6 in 10 U.S. adults have more than one or more chronic illnesses, right? And then 4 in 10 have about 2 or more. And when we say chronic illnesses, we're talking about the ones that you see there, the heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure, the top three. And so you may have already known, but for repetition, for emphasis, diet is the number one modifiable risk factor in terms of addressing those top three. Here's the thing, and this is why Minority Health Month is important. And this is why having practitioners who represent the populations they serve is important. First of all, disparities we know are driven by access. And then there's structural inequities in terms of nutrition. We call them food deserts, we call them food swamps. So those are public health terms. But then also culturally, having a provider or a practitioner who is culturally aligned with the population, the community that they're serving, makes a very big difference in terms of how the information is received and how people how that information is sustained in terms of behavior change. Next slide. And so here's some evidence to support some of what I am sharing. Dietary patterns, eating patterns actually improve. And when we say cardiometabolic, it's fancy word for blood pressure, blood sugar, and heart health. So dietary patterns do have an impact, positively or not, depending on what's on the plate in terms of our health outcomes as a community. And then produce prescriptions. The literature shows that 6 months of receiving produce prescriptions actually impacted in a positive way blood pressure and blood sugar. And then eating plant forward in plant forward ways actually helps to reduce inflammation. And just understand, because food is medicine is such a big topic. This is a very, very simplified version of where we could go with all of this. Next slide. So again, this is very simplified, but if we're thinking about protecting our greatest asset, we're thinking about food, the connection between food, energy, productivity, right? What I have here are food groups and also nutrients. So we're thinking about the carbohydrates for energy and stability, right? And we're thinking about the whole grains, the complex grains. We're thinking about depending on the population or the culture we're from, we're thinking about grains like farro. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. We're thinking about fonio, or if oats is our thing, we're thinking about oats. And then not necessarily grains, but complex carbohydrates like plantain. So if you're from the Caribbean, okay, let me not get distracted by the chats. The chat is just lighting up. But if you're from the Caribbean and places where you eat plantain, then you want some plantain, right? So plantain is included. And then in terms of fatigue and combating or mitigating fatigue, there's iron-rich foods. And again, it's very simplified. And then omega-3s for our brain and our mood. We have fish, we have flax, we have walnuts. And then making sure that we're hydrated, that helps us to stay focused. Quick tip, if we're trying to lose some weight, hydration works for us because hunger actually, thirst actually masks hunger. So sometimes we're thirsty and we feel hungry, but we're actually thirsty. So just lean into the hydration. Next slide. So that is a picture actually of one of the classes that I had with Tuskegee at their conference, and that's the women's session. But nonetheless, wanted to show you guys that because it's super important when you are thinking about your personal health and also thinking about how you are addressing the health and well-being, especially from a nutrition standpoint of the communities you serve. I came up with a framework for you. So we nourish. So we are eating, we're promoting foods that are minimally processed. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Michael Pollan, but he says it like this: eat food, mostly plants, but not too much. So not too much food and mostly plants. If you follow that, I think you'll be in good shape. So whole foods, minimally processed. So that's the nourish piece. And then there's always an opportunity to connect culturally. In the work that I've done, in different settings, whether it's a church setting, whether it's in rural parts of Mississippi, whether it's in Alabama. So I've done work in several places, whether it's on a college campus, and I'll mention that a little bit more. There's always an opportunity to connect culture with healthful eating. And then we educate. We educate by building confidence and knowledge. The confidence piece happens when people start touching and tasting and cooking. My perspective of nutrition is that it needs to have a component where you're actually doing. Otherwise, there's a less likely for people to sustain that behavior. So nourish, connect, educate, and sustain. Next slide. And so, in terms of culturally responsive nutrition, we're thinking about ways to engage ourselves, right? We want to honor the culture, whatever our culture is, by eating that way. And then also sharing that with the communities we serve and help them, empower them to do the same. So that's one of the pop-up classes that I did for Tuskegee. So the research indicates, and this is why this is important, we connect culture. The research indicates that behavior change is actually sustained at a higher level when interventions, classes, whatever we want to call them, are culturally connected. And so, we connect foods, okra to gut health, grains to sustain energy, black eyed peas to protein and fiber, greens to micronutrients, and micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. So we're always wanting to be intentional. And for me, as a registered dietitian, it's super important when I do that work, and when I used to do that work a lot, it was always super important for me to connect with whoever, whatever individual group I was working with, on the basis of the nutrition piece with culture. Next slide. And so here it is in terms of nutrition, the sustaining the behavior change. So we want to make sure that whatever we're doing for ourselves and for others, there's a lot out there about what you should and shouldn't do, lots of influencers. But think about the best way for you when you're trying to sustain a behavior change. And whatever it is you're going to be doing, it needs to be relevant, it needs to be practical, it needs to be empowering. And so this is why I teach the way that I do. In terms of focusing on culture, making sure that they're hands-on components, and then empowering people, not just demos, but having people actually do the exercises. Next slide. So I wanted to go through quickly a system. So people ask me a lot, well, can I have a recipe? Do you have a recipe for that? I found that the easiest way, because I've worked on college campuses across the state, doing health and wellness activations, health and wellness talks. I've worked with adults in churches. I've worked in clinics. I've worked in the rural Mississippi Delta. And so one of the things is we have to think about people's affordability, right? Can they afford what we're asking them to eat, right? And so I've also worked in the South Bronx where there was very little. So we want to think about what can people afford, and we want to make sure that we teach them something that they can adapt. Systems are adaptable. If I give you a recipe, you may not be able to afford that ingredient tomorrow. You may not have that ingredient. So what I teach are systems, and also teach intuitive cooking. So here we go. If we're doing like an overnight oats, this is super convenient. You get your jar, you put your overnight oats in your jar, your oats rather, as the base in the jar. Then you put in your protein, your liquid. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. This is one I prepared last night. This has the soy milk, chia seeds, cardamom, and rum extract. And I can add more. I have protein powder. I'm gonna add some protein powder. And so this is adaptable. In terms of culture, I could top it off with some mangoes, with some coconut flakes. So think about how adaptable this system is. You can make it whatever you want. You could use whatever spices you like. So next slide, please. And then we have another jar system that I'm teaching you, which is the salad in a jar. So you'll get the slides. So the base is the liquid, it's your salad dressing. And then you're going for your grains. In this particular one, we have quinoa, which is about 8 grams of protein per cup. Then the next thing is the actual protein. You can do animal protein, plant protein, that's your business. Just add some protein and make sure it's heart healthy. And so we have some red beans here. Per cup, it's about 15 grams of protein. And then you keep on layering. So I'm going to add, just to show you guys, for us to get started, you keep on layering with your veggies. And on the top, when you are finished, is your greens. The greens are the most delicate. That's why they're on the top. So I don't know if you noticed that the most hardy, or the ingredients that won't get too mushy and soft, are the ones that are on the bottom, and you keep building with the ones that are more perishable, more perishable on the top. So here we have our salad in a jar. So I teach systems. I recommend you do systems, because now you can actually go home when you're done, if you're not home, and actually look for ingredients that you like, and you can customize. I can add some plantains, I can add some jerk chicken, I can add whatever I'd like to make it whatever culture I'd like it to be. Next slide, please. And so this is me. If you're interested in working with me, reach out. It has been a pleasure. Y'all, whatever you do, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. Y'all take good care.
All right, next we have up Tsani Merriweather.
Yes. And that was amazing. All right. And here we are. Hello to Sunny.
Hi, good afternoon. Can everyone hear me? Okay, thumbs up. Yes.
Oh, yes, we can definitely hear you and see you.
Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you to Atlanta Black Chambers and Black Health Matters for creating this space. Can you go back? I'm not ready for that slide yet. Yep, thank you. So we've heard two great, powerful reminders that mental health is foundational and food is medicine. I just kind of want to bring us home and build on that by adding another layer of protection, related to how rest, boundaries, and body awareness helps us protect our energy, capacity, and well-being in real time. So my work, it centers around rest and embodiment, safe connection, and creating spaces where people really can reconnect with themselves in practical and meaningful ways. This topic is really personal to me because I know, like, really firsthand what it means to keep going until the body says no and just not listening. I've lived through the kind of burnout that really just forced me to stop. And that experience changed the way I think about health and productivity and what it really means. To protect ourselves. And so now I remind myself all the time that my body is where I live. And if I do not take care of it, who will? It's where I live, and who will take care of it if I don't? So I just want to offer a simple reminder that health is wealth is not just a slogan, and our body really is our greatest asset. So if we want to protect that asset, we have to learn to listen earlier. We have to learn to respond sooner, and we have to treat our bodies as part of our care plan and not just something that we reach for after we've really run out. Next slide. So why does this matter? Because the truth of it is that many of us, we don't stop when we're tired. We stop when our bodies really forces us to make that decision. The body just makes the decision for us. So burnout, it is expensive, and it doesn't always look dramatic like people think that it might. It not only affects us, personally, it's a collective kind of situation that we all deal with, and it costs us energy. It costs us clarity and presence and creativity, and ultimately, it really can cost us our health. It impacts our employers if we are working for someone else through disengagement and loss of productivity. It impacts our own businesses. I assume that many of us on this panel are entrepreneurs, or we might be doing double duty, working for someone else and also trying to produce something great for ourselves. And so it impacts our own business through inconsistency and decision fatigue and reduced capacity. It impacts our communities as well when the people that everyone is depending on, we're just running on empty. So for many of us, those survival habits are not a strategy, and they can start to feel normal. And so pushing through and or ignoring the signals and delaying rest and disconnecting from what we need are all part of the problem. And so they're not really a strategy. It's often just learned responses that we have to stress and scarcity and trauma and environments that, have taught us to keep moving, keep moving, keep moving like machines, no matter what. And particularly in our Black and Brown communities, that pattern is just really familiar. We come from histories of adaptation, over functioning and carrying way more than we should, with very little room to fall to fall back and really pay attention to what is going on in our body. So our bodies, they do give us signals before we shut down. It's just really that we have to slow down and pay attention. It shows up in ways, as Kabian talked about earlier, tension in our body. It shows up as irritability and brain fog and exhaustion. You might experience some numbness in your body, trouble focusing, and really just a lot of disconnection, where we're not paying attention to what is really happening. And so, if you could go to the next slide, please. And so if burnout is not always dramatic, and if our bodies are often signaling us before we shut down, then the question really becomes like, what kind of protection do we put into practice, and really what does that look like? And so for me, that work lives in three pathways. It's through rest, it's through community, and it's through embodiment. And rest is really just about supporting our nervous system, giving ourselves permission to pause before we hit the wall. That might look like taking a power nap. I don't particularly like power naps, but sometimes they can be really effective, 15, 20 minutes, stepping away from whatever we're doing, saying no to a task that really can wait until later. Every email doesn't have to be answered immediately. Might be just going for a walk, taking a few minutes to meditate. Rest is not always big or elaborate. It's small decisions that, really help us come back to ourselves and that are just really necessary to get us through the day. Yes, just say no. It's okay. Community is about safe connection and support. We're not meant to carry everything alone. We really aren't. We're meant for community. And for me, that looks like cuddling events that I either facilitate or just to attend in support of someone else. I attend many healing centered group activities. It's really powerful to be in space with someone else where you can just soften and connect and be reminded that support really is available if we just pay attention. Community helps us regulate and feel seen and remember that care, it really just does not have to happen in isolation. And embodiment, this is my favorite space to be in, where we look at body awareness and boundaries and pleasure, and we get to listen to ourselves in real time. It really just means noticing the sensations that alert you when something feels off, the tightness that you might feel, the tension, the fatigue, irritation, shutdown, and just using that information to really get clear on our boundaries. And it means putting that into a daily practice, both personally and professionally, learning how to navigate what your body is saying and how to communicate effectively with more honesty and care, and intention that is all led from the body if we really listen. So the work that I do through the Healers Lounge and my other offerings, we really just create space for rest and safe connection and deeper body awareness so that people can protect their energy and well-being in practical, intentional, and very sustainable ways. You can go to the next slide, please. So with all this in mind, I want to leave you with three really simple tools that you can use this week, not next month, not when life slows down, because we realize that that doesn't always happen like we would want it to. So it really is just a week at a time. So with this week, the first one is about the 10-second consent check. And I want you to pause and ask yourself when you are using this tool, this 10-second consent check, just ask yourself, do I have the capacity for this right now? Just right now. And your answer might be yes, it might be no, it might be not right now. And all three are very valid. But the practice is not just noticing what you feel in your body. It's honoring it, it's making a decision, and it is communicating it clearly without carrying unnecessary guilt. Guilt is just a wasted emotion. And so it's one way that we can protect our energy in real time. The 60-second reset. It says desk, but it really can take place anywhere you are. You're just going to take a moment to unclench your jaw and drop your shoulders and take a full breath in. Kabian also referenced this earlier. When you take in your inhale, make sure that you're taking your exhale. Take a little extra time for your exhale. This really helps interrupt our autopilot and brings you back into the present moment. And the good thing is that when you are doing this, you really can do it anywhere. You can do it at your desk or in your car, in the bathroom, before your next meeting, wherever you are. You could be standing in line somewhere. It's a very simple practice that we all can establish for ourselves relatively quickly. And then the third tool we have is this pleasure menu where you get to choose. I just say 5 safe pleasures and do one daily. You can choose as many as you want. Some time ago, I started setting what I have on my phone as a pleasure moment alarm. I have several alarms. People look at my phone and say, "Why do you have so many alarms?" My pleasure moment alarm is my favorite. I set it sometimes. Some weeks it might be every hour. Some weeks it might be every 2 hours. It's just like any other reminder, but it's one that is specifically meant for you to pause and find something that brings you pleasure in the day. Pleasure can be something just as simple as I'm going to get an infused water. I'm going to light an incense. I'm going to light a candle. I'm just going to take a second to stand up and walk around my house. All those things bring me pleasure. It is a beautiful sunshiny day. I want to get up and go look at the window. So setting those alarms is just a reminder that it is okay for you to take a moment for yourself and incorporate it into your day just very easily. And so if you want to take it one step further, you can try this as a 7-day plan and set it for each day where you get to practice one boundary, you get to practice one reset and one pleasure deposit. And these small, consistent actions can really just shift more than we think. And you're going to take it to the next slide. And so if you want more support, this is my life work. It's what brings me the most amount of joy, talking about it, sharing it with people, creating spaces where we all get to connect and feed off of each other and share stories and what it looks like to be embodied and rest and more pleasure. So you can follow me at the Healers Lounge and you can DM me Wealth if you want to receive a consultation discount off of my private sessions. And I have a cuddle club that'll be coming up in May where we get to practice consent and boundary and exercises and have fun and cuddle if you like. It is never mandatory. It is always optional. It is a great time. We do it every other month. And there's an offering of $10 off if you want to join us. And I think you can scan that QR code and reach out to me. I would love to connect more with you offline. Thank you so much. That is my time.
Wow, we had some great experts in the house today. Y'all rocked the virtual stage, so thank you all. Just learning about the mental health activities. Sometimes we just got to inhale, exhale. Take those moments. I love the alarms. I need to get a whole bunch of alarms set up on my phone now to Tsani. And I love what you all said about it's expensive not to practice self care. So we have some great tools shared today. We even have some recipes. So go get your mason jars and start filling them up with your favorite ingredients. So, Malika, do we have any questions?
We do. We had a question for Dr. Fiona. Let me get that question out for her. Dr. Fiona, is it healthy to eat vegetables that are not organic? Do they not increase the cancer risk?
I am here. Give me one second. So that is a great question. Yes. So in the short, my short answer is yes, organic is best, right? Because it does reduce the amount of pesticides in the foods. But let's be for real, right? Let's think about the economy. Let's think about the practicality for some folks terms of the budget. And so the idea is to eat vegetables and fruit, just Number one, eat them. And then number two, we think about the way that we clean them. You know, there are different sprays that we can use and washes rather we can use in terms of making sure that we get rid of some of the pesticides. So when I teach, I'm a very practical person. First and foremost, get your fruits and vegetables, whole grains, all the things that will keep you healthy. If you can afford organic and all the fancy exclusive things, go ahead and do it. But if you cannot, do it where you are. I try to meet people where they are. So that is my answer. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Fiona, and thank you for uplifting budget savvy ways to stay healthy because it can be very expensive and hit those pockets hard. Malika, do we have any other questions?
We do. We have two additional questions. Again, for Dr. Fiona, is soy milk good for us?
You're on mute, Dr.
Yeah,
Fiona.
I started giving a lecture and I'm still on mute. So it depends, right? In general, it is very isoflavones. Those are considered part of anti-inflammatory properties. It's good in terms of helping also with the perimenopause, menopause, and there are lots of other protective benefits. It's a good source of protein. There's been some controversy about gynecomastia, meaning men's breasts, but that's like old research, right? And there's been some controversy also in questions around cancer and breast cancer, and all the research really debunks that, right? So overall, including um, uh, soy milk is a very good thing if that's your thing. If soy milk was not for you, don't like it, you know, there are other plant-based milks.
Thank you, Dr. Fiona. And Malika, what's that last question? If we can answer this in 60-minute record time, that'd be great.
I will
Okay.
try.
All right. We do have a question in the Q&A. Is it true that washing fruit and veggies with vinegar and baking soda is a good way?
I don't know if it's a good way, but I'll answer it this way. That's what we've done in my Caribbean household, and I'm still here. But there are other ways. No, that is not the best way, but that's how we did it in the Bronx in the Guyanese household. So please get you one of those. I want to say very uh, low ingredients. I would say I won't use the word organic, but low ingredient list, minimal ingredient list washes, and you'll be fine.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fiona, and thank you, Malika, for monitoring the chat and making sure we got those questions and answers. So I'd love to end with a call to action. So you heard a lot of information, but we want you to actually walk away and apply it. So before you leave, make an investment in yourself. We're asking you to choose one action today that supports your mental, your physical well-being, and commit to making a part of your weekly routine. So this is your call to action, and we hope that you take it serious and that you really uplift yourself this Minority Health Month and throughout the year. So we truly value your feedback. As we said earlier, this is Atlanta Black Chamber's first webinar of many. We are going to claim that. So we want you to share your feedback so that we can make some adjustments, and we always challenge ourselves to do better. So please take 3 minutes to complete the survey. You can scan the QR code. We will also send out a follow-up email that will have this information as well as the PowerPoint and some great resources, because we want to make sure that you connect with both Atlanta Black Chambers and Black Health Matters. They have a whole month of events, so get active. And I know a lot of you are here today because you want to get your Ches credit. So kudos to my fellow Chesers out there. The survey closes on Friday, April the 10th. So we're giving you adequate time to share your feedback. So make sure that you let us know how we're doing, how we could get better. So with that being said, this concludes our webinar, and we hope that you enjoy your day and that you apply everything that you learned today.
Uh, uh, And if you don't mind, Tamara, I do want to offer or answer a question that was in the chat. How do you become a member of ABC? Please go to atlantablackchambers.org and join immediately. We would love to have you a part of our amazing organization. So again, atlantablackchambers.org. Talk to you all soon.
Enjoy your day. You know what? Let